Hello and welcome to this session of MSBA Online, Early Childhood Education Programs that Work. School districts throughout Missouri have created programs or partnered with providers to ensure that children are afforded a first-class pre-K experience. Each year, the MSBA Future Builders Educational Foundation recognizes outstanding early childhood education programs in Missouri's public schools. To be eligible for the award, the school district must be a member of Missouri School Boards Association and must offer a high-quality pre-K program. There are 3 award categories based on school size. This year's award recipients were selected by the MSBA Future Builders Board based on their innovative approaches and outstanding ability to engage and support the development of the children in their care, and on their overall commitment to the early childhood education and care profession. I'm excited to introduce this year's recipients. Jason McDowell is the Early Childhood Director in Northeast Nottoway County R5 School District, the winner in the Small District category. Our winner in the Mid-Size District category is the El Dorado Springs R2 School District. And representing their district program is Dr. Teresa Christian, Assistant Superintendent. And Dr. Amita Meeks-Williams is the instructional coach at the Riverview Gardens School District, the large district winner. So let's hear about these district programs. To start off, why don't you please give us a glimpse into your programs and share what is outstanding or unique? In other words, what's made it so successful? Jason, why don't you go first?
So I represent the Northeast Nottoway School District, and we are a small rural school district in Northwest Missouri. Our preschool population is right around 20 students this year, and school-wide, pre-K through 12, we have about 230 students. We have, our program is a strictly all-day program. We have grown over the years from just basically it started out, community necessity, and has grown into a very important part of our school district as a whole, and kind of a springboard to the K-12 education that they get. Yeah, we've included all kinds of academic play, as well as we've piloted some common knowledge language arts that are preschool based, and have been a part of a few other pilot programs. And we've just tried to stay as cutting edge as we can in our rural community.
Great. Good to know. So Teresa, why don't you share a little bit about what's going on in El Dorado Springs?
We like to think of our Early Learning Center as our field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. In 2014, our district received a Smart Start grant from the Department of Economic Development, and we built an Early Learning Center. And we already had a Title I pre-K, early childhood special education, parents as teachers. And when we had the opportunity to build the building, we decided to add a birth to 5 daycare. And the goal is to incorporate all of our early learning services into one building and be able to serve families in a more holistic fashion and really create partnerships with those families from the very beginning, from birth. The other thing that we were targeting were 2 specific portions of our population here in the school district. First being teen pregnancy. We seem to have per capita large teenage pregnancy population at times. And so we wanted to make sure those students graduated, whether moms and dads. And so for the high school students, the students take a child development course and work with our parents as teachers coordinator, and they volunteer at the daycare to learn parenting skills at the same time that they are reaching their goals towards graduation. So, and then the other thing that we did, because we are a small rural community, and teacher retention and recruitment is a huge issue for us at times, we felt like having the on-site daycare gives us a leg up with young professional teachers, having an on-site daycare for them as well. So those are the things that I think are unique and interesting and innovative about our program. 3 years ago, we also started participating in the Early Learning Blended funded program with DESE, and that has allowed us to provide more flexibility in instruction and student placement in our preschool. So we're very excited about this honor and about sharing our story.
Great. Thank you, Teresa. And Amita, would you share with us kind of some highlights from the Riverview Gardens program?
Okay, the Michelle Obama Early Childhood Academic Center is our name. We're in Riverview Gardens School District. We serve the North County, St. Louis, Missouri area. We've been over here for 22 years now, and our staff is dedicated to the education of all learners and also their own education. So they're lifelong learners as well. We have 7 out of the 12 teachers that have pursued either a master's degree or a reading specialist to help to educate our scholars. We strive to educate the whole child. We want to make sure that their social, emotional needs are met as well as academics. We desire to make meaningful connections with our families, with our staff, and with the scholars, and of course, the community around us so that we can support them in any way. So we can support them now and for lifelong experiences as they go through life. We love that they, begin to go out and matriculate into society and other school districts as they move throughout the North County community. So sometimes we have scholars that stay in this community and sometimes they go other places and as well, but they did have a great start here. We are the first African-American named school in our school district. We had a name change a couple years ago, about 2016. And so that was very meaningful for us as a school because we did not have a name. Our district has 13 schools, which serve approximately 5,700 scholars. We have 13 schools, and we have 1 high school. We have 2 middle schools, 9 elementary, and 1 early childhood center that also houses parents as teachers. Our parents as teachers program also, they go into the high school as well and work with our teams. So that's a great partnership that we have with the high school. We currently have 175 scholars that are learning virtually because we're closed at the moment. And 140 of them are ECAC and 35 of them are with our special school district. So we're blessed to have the special school district here with us in the building, and they, we partner with them to help ensure the best education for our scholars. We have a wonderful SSD staff, and they're here and they're hands-on with them. We have a total of 67 staff members, 40 ECAC, 21 SSB, and the other 6 are parent educators, 1 part-time and 5 full-time. This year, we began offering specialty classes. We offer physical education, also an art class, so they're able to go out of their classrooms and enjoy those activities with those teachers. We also wanted to impact the physical aspect of our scholars, but also wanted to add literacy with that. So we have an academic literacy track team. So they work on different things like that, as well as a softball team. So they work on literacy and learning how to do sports. It's quite interesting. We also have cheerleaders and a mini movers dance team that we started as well for those after school activities. We also provide wonderful group meetings once a month, through virtual at this moment because, we can't see each other, but we have that as well. We serve dinner during our after school program. So that helps the families as they are picking up their children late. And we have many partnerships that I would like to mention at this moment. We have the Little Bit Foundation that comes here to help us. That helps with food and clothing and free book fairs, school supplies and things like that. We partnership with the St. Louis Symphony Ready Reader and the St. Louis County Library Bookmobile, the St. Louis Diaper Bank, Lutheran Family Services, and the Loom Institute. So we're just excited to be connecting with all the different partners in the area to make sure that our families have their needs met.
Great. Amita, you kind of started, you kind of made some references to the going virtual now, and certainly we all know that 2020 has presented new challenges. And so I'm going to start with Amita, but I would like each of you to really talk about what the impact of the pandemic has been on your programs. How does early childhood look this year? What's been the impact in terms of what you're doing differently, maybe with children or your staff and with the families? So, Amita, if you could just elaborate just a little bit, and then we'll hear from the others as well.
Okay, well, the beginning, of course, the beginning of the year started, we had to train the teachers on how to use technology. That was a big, a big spill for us to go into and to make sure that they had working technology. So training the teachers first and then informing the parents and trying to get them the appropriate technological tools that they needed as well. So connecting with the scholars has been, very hard because we need to be with them. It's hard to hold the souls of children when you're on the other side of the screen, but we try very hard to try to connect with them. We've had to, of course, hire other staff members because some, can't come to work due to the pandemic and its effects on people's health. So I guess when we started school on the 4th of November, and then we stopped on the 7th. So we were here for about 7 days with scholars, and it was wonderful. And they got a chance to, connect with their teachers. So when we had to close again, of course, it was disappointing, but at least they got an opportunity to make some connections with them in a real way. So that was kind of good. But we're still working through those challenges as we speak, and we'll just continue to connect with the families as best as we can.
Right. Thank you. Jason, what about you?
We've had face-to-face learning this year. It has looked different. Just our building's largely basically been locked down as far as outside visitors go. So that first day of preschool, when we normally had a lot of parent traffic in the building and some high anxiety, I guess, from parents. We had to rework that a little bit and kind of set up a welcoming type of area out in front with several staff members and I guess you did what normally happened in the front lobby outside, socially distanced. The We have lunches in the classroom, so we don't intermingle with other grade levels and things like that. So uh, small things like that. The good thing is the kids at this age seem to be very flexible. I mean, a lot of them don't know any different, so they're coming to their first day and their first year of school in our building, and this is how it is. So hopefully once we're in a better spot, it'll seem even better for them than it does this year. But we had to make some changes with that. Cleaning protocols, moving kids out of different areas, sometimes not having kids move into certain areas and things like that. So they've taken it in stride. I think as as adults, we're creatures of habit, and it's harder for us sometimes than it is for the kids. But that's kind of how it's looked so far for us.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes the little kids are a little more resilient than us adults, aren't they?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So what have you experienced, Teresa?
Uh, well, we have been face to face, or what we call our green status, most of the year, and particularly in our early learning center. One of our commitments early on as a district is that we would do whatever we could to keep students, elementary students, pre-K through 5, in classrooms. So if that means that middle school, high school students go to yellow or red status and go to distance learning so we can spread the students out, that's what we do. And we made that commitment from the beginning of the school year. So our preschool has been, and daycare and early learning have been in face-to-face since the beginning of the school year. But we have a lot of mitigating measures. We don't allow outside visitors. Um, Everybody in the building is required to wear a mask, every adult. We went to student masks except for our littles, our pre-K students this week with the new guidance that came from the governor's office and from DESE and DHSS. So we've had some of those things. I would agree. I think that with Jason and with Anita, making the connections and really developing those partnerships with the parents is the biggest challenge right now. One of the biggest benefits to our program has been the partnerships and the collaboration with parents. Because a lot of the parents, especially those that come through Parents as Teachers and our early learning program, the pre-K, a lot of them did not have very good experiences as parents when they were in school. And having a positive partnering relationship has been really valuable to us. It's been valuable at the Early Learning Center, but that has paid dividends in the elementary and in how they have moved forward. When the parents see their children having such a positive experience and developing that relationship with the parents early on, that has been huge for us. And I can say I think that's one of the biggest benefits. It's also probably one of the things that we are really, if I want to say we're struggling with something, it's the thing that we're still trying to figure out how to get back to that same level of partnership with those parents in this time, because it was a very much monthly meetings, like Amita said, and special events, and the parents being welcome into the building for, at various times. And that is not happening. And so I think it has impacted the relationship building. But our teachers and our workers at the daycare and our parents as teachers coordinator and the 2 parents and teacher educators that we have, they're working so hard to try to continue to build those relationships. And I do think that's one of the most important things that we need to continue to really focus on, especially during this time with the pandemic and the socially distancing. It is impacting how we interact with each other.
We certainly know from years of research that kids do better when parents are engaged in their children's education. And we know there's at all ages, but certainly we know how vital that their relationship is and their collaboration is with those early years, because they are their first teachers, as we talk about. So getting them engaged in these just strange environments is really challenging. So I would guess that we could say that every school district in Missouri would love to have a preschool program, but we also know that not every school district does, and it is optional in Missouri. And so I'm wondering what advice that you might have for other districts that might be considering starting an early childhood program or working to expand their existing program. What lessons have you learned that you think would be helpful for other districts to know and keep in mind as they move forward?
I would start with be flexible and look at your resources and don't feel like you're in a box. Think about the physical, human, and capital resources you have in your district and how you can maximize them for student learning. That is the goal, is student learning. And so when we think about our resources from that perspective, it does change the paradigm. And for us, we've had a Title I preschool for about 22 years now. We've had ECSE since its inception. We've had parents as teachers and a strong parents as teachers program from the very beginning. And they worked in isolation and there wasn't a lot of collaboration. And when we received the Smart Start grant, we decided as a district to start thinking differently about early learning and really think about it as the holistic program, the whole child, as Amita said earlier. And that vision has really changed how we view early learning. And I will say it does take investment, and we're not a large district and we're not a very rich district. We are about 56% free and reduced lunch. 97% of those kids are free. So we're in a high poverty area. And yet we have a board and a community that value and want early learning. And so we've made the commitment to early learning, knowing that later, as the students matriculate through school, that commitment will pay off. And we're seeing it pay off. In students that have been dismissed from YCDD IEPs, and students that once upon a time would have maybe been in our PBIS Tier 2 intervention group are now in regular ed, not struggling, understand school culture. Students that might have come in with vocabulary delays because of lack of enrichment at home don't have those as well. So the academic piece is there and we have data to show it, but it's the whole child and it's the focus on learning. And I think you have to be committed to that and just figure it out.
Well, you certainly can't argue with the results, which, as you articulated, really reinforce what we know from the research. But it's great to take that research into a real setting in Missouri school districts where we can really see it happening. Jason, what would you kind of share in terms of the advice that you would give? You need to know this, or things that you've learned.
I think to echo some of that, it's really it's such a benefit to the students, and it's easy for us to see it being on the inside, and just in making sure we promote as much as we can the successes that we have at the early level. And before this year, I would have said, get parents in as much as possible to see what's going on. To echo also that, the data is there. It's proven. We can clearly see just by walking in a kindergarten classroom, who it's their first day of school altogether, or who is part of an early childhood program. And it is an extra cost, and, funding's always tight. We're a small rural community, and, funding's tight for everybody. So, it's something that just has to happen, because it affects the rest of their school career and the rest of their lives.
Amina, what can you add to that?
Wow, those are great responses. I would say research the need in the area, definitely, and see if it's significant. And definitely, I would open one up for the early learners, because it's much needed. 1 out of 4 children are reading. They're not reading. I'm sorry. So we want to make sure that they are. And so if your mission as an early childhood educator is to help the children at their foundation to get the needs that they need as they matriculate through the system, then by all means, open up a high quality early childhood center in this area. And that would impact the area. It would impact the world, wherever they may end up. I would look for grants, that are early childhood friendly, that can help you start or expand the program, and establish relationships with your community. I would start a parent advisory council to have those parents heard, have their voices heard in that community to what they need for their children and their family. And a early childhood advisory council to also incorporate those partnerships to help you get your center off the ground. Connect with local businesses and other early childhood directors, because it's a network of people out there. You're not alone. So start your center, connect with others, so we can help the academic and social emotional growth of our scholars in this area.
Yeah, I'm so glad Amina mentioned surveying the community. When we, that's one of the things when we were looking at getting the Smart Start grant, we did. And we found out that every preschool, including our own, had a waiting list. And so we actually expanded enrollment the first year. We've expanded enrollment in our early learning program every single year. We're at total capacity. We've had a waiting list since we built our center. So really, I would encourage people as well, know what the needs are. Find out if there are waiting lists in your community. Find out who is actually providing the early learning: Head Start, churches, private organizations, daycares, businesses, and find out, what their enrollment is and how much of that is from your community, because we were surprised by the number of children that were on waiting lists in the community when we did that research ourselves.
Well, you've highlighted some fabulous things that are going on in your districts, and I think illustrate that while there are some common threads through all your programs, that they're each unique to your community and the needs of your children and families, and also with the resources that are available within your community, and that varies obviously from district to district. In the last few minutes that we have together, I wonder if just what didn't I ask? What would you really like folks to know and to take away about your program that maybe you haven't had an opportunity to share in this spotlight? Jason, what about you? Is there
Uh,
anything you'd like to add?
I think it's important to have high quality staff involved as well. I didn't really touch on that, but I'm blessed to have a very caring and a staff that is just all about early childhood education, and you can just tell by going in the room. I think that helps make my job easier, and it's more beneficial for the students too. I just wanted to congratulate the other two schools as well, and on their programs, and thank MSBA and Future Builders for the recognition. We appreciate it.
Teresa, anything to add?
Two things. First, I do want to recognize our staff. We have an incredible daycare staff, and we hired a daycare director, and neither the superintendent and I knew anything about running a daycare, and we literally said, it's yours, start it up, and we have your back. And she did an amazing job getting it going and continues to run it and does an amazing job. Our Parents as Teachers has actually doubled in staff since we've been open. We went from 1.5 FTE to 3, and we serve over 100 families with our Parents as Teachers program now. And then our early learning center, our preschool, we have 2 full-time teachers and 2 full-time paras that serve 60 students every day in our half-day, and we have a half-day preschool program. And they amaze me every time I go over there. The work that they're doing, the growth in the children, and I want to echo what Jason said about, we can tell the students that have been in an early learning program versus the students who have not when they come in that first day of kindergarten. There is a huge difference, and so and it just demonstrates how much early learning matters. The other thing I wanted to highlight just real fast is we do participate. I think we're one of 6 districts in the state that participate in the early blended funding, which is blending various state and or federal resources and local resources to provide flexibility instruction in early learning. And I would really encourage people to explore that program and look at how that funding works, because you don't have to spend more money in the blended funding program. It helps you be more flexible in how you spend the money in instruction in your classrooms. And then finally, again, thank you to MSBA and Future Builders for the opportunity to be a part of this and for the recognition. I'm sitting here being interviewed, but the heroes are down the street in our early learning center right now with our babies and doing an amazing job. So thank you.
Great. Amita, what would you like to add?
I would just like to say that as the Early Childhood Center, we continue to recognize that parents are the first teachers and their first advocates. So we just want to continue to promote them to continue to learn how to be the best advocate for their scholars. And so I just want to say that this was an honor. This was a great honor, and I just want to thank you. And that this is a great testament to the hard work of the community and the staff that are here, and the scholars and the families that are here at the Riverview Gardens School District, as well as Michelle Obama. I would like to give a shout out to our former leader, Dr. Lenore Payne. He did transition to another district, but I would like to thank him for providing us with the opportunity to apply for this. And also to our great staff. They are wonderful, and I just want them to know that they are the star in the sky that shines brightly. So thank you, MSBA, for this opportunity. Appreciate you guys. And to Jason and Teresa, you guys have really blessed me today, and I appreciate it.
I want to come visit your centers.
I was thinking the same thing. I wrote things down.
I just want to take a little early learning center tour and just come visit.
Exactly. That'd be great. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm sure each of these folks would be happy to have guests at their preschool when it's safe to do that. And as part of their recognition of these great programs, our MSBA Executive Director, Melissa Randall, is really looking forward to the opportunity to present an award to each district when it is safe to make contact. That's always a fun part of her job, to be able to come out and be able to do that. And we also are so pleased that Scholastic will once again be honoring our early childhood education winners by providing each district with 500 books. We really appreciate Scholastic's ongoing partnership and their generous contribution to our Early Childhood Education Award winners. So Teresa, Jason, and Amita, congratulations once again for your outstanding work with the young children in your communities. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.